So Aaron, after probably two of the longest away journeys you can get in the EFL, it's probably nice to be back at home again.
Yeah, it was definitely a long week and a lot of travelling, but I think if you saw the effort that the boys put into both those trips and the games, they put in a lot of effort and had a well-deserved rest over the weekend now, so we look to go again this weekend.
It was a good performance in both games, but especially against Plymouth, who seem to be flying in the league at the moment. How many positives have you taken from that?
Yeah, I think it was important for the boys to take the positives, even though it was a loss. The gaffer's always said if the lads are all in and they put everything in, he doesn't mind what the result is. Obviously, we want to win games, I'm not saying that, but it was just, we could have been 3-0 up at half time, hit the bar twice, scored a good goal, so unlucky not to get something from that game, definitely.
Competition attention changes, FA Cup, is it a competition you get excited for?
Yeah, definitely. I think FA Cup's one of the oldest competitions in the world, and everyone talks about it. And obviously, in these early rounds, you've got to take it as serious as you would if you were playing a Premier League team in the third round. I think that's the important to have the right mindset going into these games.
And you come up against York City, promoted from the National North last year. They started well in the National League. What challenges have you identified that they will pose to you?
Yeah, we've prepared as well as we would a league game. We've had a good look at them, and obviously they're a good team, so we're not going to take them lightly. And we'll go, like I say, we'll go into it with the same focus as we do a normal league game. And
of course, their manager John Askey actually used to manage Shrewsbury. From, I suppose, when you were a player point of view, what was it like going back to an old club? Maybe if you had a point to prove or whatnot.
Yeah, I always looked forward to going back to my old clubs, and I'm sure John will be the same. I don't know him personally, but the manager was very complimentary about him in our team meeting this morning, so we know that John will want to come and get a result, and we want to get the right result for Shrewsbury as well.
The FA Cup has been a competition that's been good to Shrewsbury in recent years, fixed some of the ties against Liverpool, West Ham, away days in Stoke, Wolves. What are you looking towards that already, or are you just taking it one game at a time?
Yeah, I think it's the old cliche, but you have got to take each game as it comes, and I think in these early rounds, like I said, it's important to have the right mindset, go into it with full focus, and you can't be thinking about the latter rounds until you've done the job in hand.
Any memories yourself from your time in the FA Cup?
I remember reaching the fifth round with Stockport, playing against Tottenham away at White Hart Lane, which was quite a good experience to get to the fifth round with Stockport County. It was a great achievement back in the time. They had Sol Campbell playing for them, people like that. And more recently, in my Rochdale career, I scored in the third round against Newcastle, the equaliser, towards the end of the game. So yeah, those two memories really. Never really got further than the fifth round. I think that was the furthest I ever got. But no, it's always been an exciting competition, and one that, as a kid, you always want to say that you played in and done well in and scored in. So, no, fond memories.
Does the prospect of those games motivate you more as a player?
Definitely. I think everyone's looking as a player, especially in League One and League Two and below, to get to kind of that third or fourth round and hopefully get a Premier League team. That's what everyone kind of dreams of. And obviously, you spoke about the ties that Shrewsbury have had in recent times, and the Liverpool game last year, for instance. So we, like I say, we'll look forward to that, but not until we've done the job in hand in the first two rounds, and it's going to be a difficult game against York on Saturday, that's for sure.
And of course, a couple of years ago, you took charge against Southampton as well when Steve was unwell. Do you look back on those previous ties where you have got to face those bigger teams, or do you sort of go with a blank canvas?
I think you can always learn from past experiences, so you definitely take that kind of experience into the games and that knowledge, but I think for each team you've got to prepare differently, like I said, and we've prepared for York, and that's what we'll be looking to do this weekend and hopefully get through to the next round.
Off the pitch, injuries, DaCosta and O'Brien had a re-emergence of their problems last weekend. What's the latest on them? Yeah,
it's unlikely that we'll see Julian until December now, to be fair. And with Aidan, although nothing's clear, come back on the scan, we're just going to continue with his rehab and hopefully get him stronger in the gym, and hopefully no more setbacks on that one.
And also another young player going out on loan, Cade Craig, has joined Telford. He's started 2 games since joining there. How important is it that young players go and get those experiences playing consistently, and also Telford in a tough relegation battle, they get that experience of the situation as well?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good for the player, it's good for the club, for their experience. I think the manager would have done it more often in the past if it hadn't been for having a lighter squad and COVID and stuff like that, but it's got to the time where we can do that now, and it's good for Cade, and by all accounts, speaking to the Telford staff, they've said he's done well in those first 2 games, so it's good to see, and like you say, good for young players to go and play men's football and experience it and do well.
Also off the pitch, a couple of players have been working towards their coaching licence? You're not looking over your shoulder at your job or anything, are you?
I think it's something that all players do. I remember, I think I was with the gaffer at Bristol City when I started to do my UEFA B and my A licence, and it's something that people always want to get in their pocket for later on in their careers and when they finish playing, because obviously people who do play football for a number of years want to stay in football when they retire, so it's a good chance to do it while you're still playing and while you've got the option of the help from the PFA. So I think it's great that the lads are doing it, definitely.
And do you sort of learn as well to help improve your own game when doing those courses?
Yeah, I think you look at the game from a different aspect. I know I have, since I've come onto this side of it after playing for 24 years, and then all of a sudden in the 2 years I've had at Shrewsbury now, I've probably learnt more about the game than in those 24 years as a player, because you just watch games in a totally different way. So you definitely, by doing it while you're playing, you'll learn a lot as well.
What would you say you've learnt most in your 2 years at Shrewsbury?
Just really the more tactical side of the game, really, and learning about, as a player you're quite selfish and you'll just look after your game and want to play your game to the best you can, but as a coach or a manager you have to kind of learn how defenders should move, how midfielders, how you should move as a unit, and you learn a lot more of the game side and the tactical side of that.
Super, best of luck Saturday.
Thank you, cheers.